How often do your prospects tell you, now isn't the right time? I'm not sure if I have the time to do this. Maybe I'll need a couple weeks. Can I get back to you? Can you send me an email? And then you try to throw some random rejection handle at them and they are so stuck in their ways that none of it lands, they don't move forward, and ultimately they don't get the help that they need. How often does that happen? I'm sure pretty often. And then you're stuck in fucking follow-up land, sending them random shit, hoping that one day they buy. What if I told you that timing objections are actually not about timing, and the real problem is their broken relationship with time itself, and you can hear that shit within the first 3 to 6 minutes. That's exactly what I'm telling you, and that's exactly what we're gonna learn today. I got another small snippet from my ethical gaslighting portal that is typically exclusive for my one-on-one students, but I decided I'm gonna give you YouTube motherfuckers a treat. Now, I wanna be clear, can you implement this and go make money? Of course you can. If you look at my comments, you'll see the proof. It's a bunch of people implementing and making money. But is this going to be enough? Of course not. And the reason is because you are not congruent. The principles and the tactics will only get you so far if you are not living the words that you're saying. Otherwise, they have no weight. Think about it. You are trying to persuade the other person to make an investment into themselves, to take an uncomfortable leap. But here you are, when it comes time for you to do the same with your career, talking yourself out of it, watching a bunch of free shit, and telling yourself that this will be enough, making excuses as to why your situation is different. That's why when you try to implement the things that you see online, there's this shakiness in your voice. There's this voice in the back of your head saying, you know, you don't really mean that. You know, that's not really true because you're not living it. So there is an immense amount of value in this video. I go extremely deep, but if you want to get results like D'Aven, who literally made 20 grand last month, or Chris, who made 23 grand last month, or Alex, who made 10 grand a month as a setter, or Enrique, who made his investment back in 10 days, literally had his biggest month ever with only 2 weeks of us working together.
I've been in Nick's program now for, this is coming on to my 3rd week now. And you go from 6 to 9 in a matter of weeks, and increased my close rate from like 22 and a half to, I believe it was at around 35%. Crazy.
You have to be congruent. So stop watching a bunch of free shit alone, thinking that's gonna get you there. Put your money where your mouth is, invest in yourself, and get out of your own way. Without further ado, let's dive into the video.
Now we're gonna show you a different one. And this guy was, I keep saying like people aren't just gonna easily follow it because we're ultimately detaching them from an identity that they believe, or belief in an identity that they believe is keeping them safe, that they believe is reasonable, is cautious, right? And so they're gonna fight you sometimes on it. The last lady fought me a little bit. This dude really fucking fought me on it. So let's dive in.
And in that last year, what steps would you say you've taken towards like actually starting something outside of research?
So boom, first step, right? To identify what would you say you've done towards overcoming this thing, towards solving this problem, right?
Last year, I definitely have been on the hunt for a multifamily property.
What?
On the hunt for a multifamily.
Okay.
So I've been in the market for one, but haven't bought one as of yet. I've missed out on offers of deals. If that makes sense, but that would be the main thing as far as like business implementation.
Okay. And in that time, multifamily obviously takes time, right?
It's been 2 years, guys. Keep that in mind, right? So the thing that I'm selling here is starting an online business. So I want to, and we're in part 2, by the way, of gathering context, but because before you can challenge anything, you need to have the context around how they think. And so I want to know, okay, well, when it comes to online business specifically, what have you done?
Into it, I know a few people that I know have had some success with it, but for me, it speaks to me as like being 15 to 30-second videos about different products and being an affiliate. It didn't really seem like the pathway for me. It didn't speak to me as something that I would enjoy and wanted to do. So I kind of was like, that's not going to be the medium for me,
Okay. And so I guess outside of, obviously pretty sharp dude, right? A year plus is a decent amount of time. Like, what do you think's prevented you from, even if it's not perfect, like just picking something and executing and taking action and then kind of learning as you go? What do you think's prevented you there?
So what is this doing? I'm inviting him to allow me to understand his way of thinking. And so we're still in step 2 here. We're still gathering context, right? And I also want to know the story he's been telling himself. That's really important here. Let's keep going.
Nothing necessarily preventing from me. It's just, like I said, just doing it. I think there's something as far as like with what you all presented as far as like a pathway and process. Sometimes I tend to overthink, especially with like the room to fill with it. So for me, it's just as far as like that, that's kind of what I wanted to do, like
Don't let that go over your head. I tend to overthink the room to fail. Really important. You have to listen to the language because he's telling us, right?
A faceless, YouTube process as far as because I know there was definitely some options like
Well,
earlier when I
yeah, what do you mean by overthinking the room to fail though? What do you mean by that?
All right, I'm still gathering context. I still need to understand his way of thinking.
not just as far as like investing the time, investing the money and it not working and being like succinct as far as like that process of like making sure that I'm doing and choosing something that is easy and repeatable over time. That's all.
Easy and repeatable over time. This shit is sneaky, right? Like his identity is I am someone who is smart, who picks something that's easy and repeatable over time, and since I haven't found that, I'm protecting my risk by not doing anything. That shit's not serving him well though.
So if I'm understanding, you've been in this place for 1 year where you know you want to start something, you know you need to start something, and the thing that's prevented you is like a little bit of fear of failure. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. And can I offer a perspective?
Boom. Now that I have the context, I have the belief, right? I understand his way of thinking. Now we can go into step three, which is interrupting the pattern. Can I offer a perspective? Right? This is going to put his guard down because what the fuck is he going to say? No. Right? This is going to put his guard down so that I could be able to swoop up in there and shift the belief, ultimately shift the identity, and influence his identity. I mean, influence his decision making process.
So I respect that. I respect the honesty, right? Um, but like if we look at it in your opinion, like what do you think is riskier or what do you fear more? Is it trying something, it not working out and learning the experience from it, or continuing to be in this limbo of missing your kids' games, of knowing you need more time, but continuing to work these 8 hours and not doing anything? Like what do you think you fear more?
Right? Remember what we talked about. Fear is illogical, so it can't be overcome with logic. It has to be overcome with emotion. And remember, the best way to do that is to use analogies, stories, or identity anchors, right? And so this is kind of like an analogy of like what's riskier, this or that, so that he can own that the fucking shit he's been doing is riskier, so that he can let go of that way of thinking.
I mean, I fear failing and losing the money. So let me be transparent with that.
It's not a good answer. He fears failing and losing the money more than he fears staying the same. It's not good.
Because it's not just failure in and of itself, right? It's not a free trial, right? It's failure, you lose money, you lose time, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like consequence.
Okay.
It's not just intangible.
So
Hey,
let me ask you
because
this. So and I respect that, right? So between the last year to now, having not done anything towards that goal and being where we are, where we're working 80 hours and we're still missing the kids' games, do you think that had you started, again, even if it's not perfect, man, but had you started something a year ago, do you think you'd be in a better position to getting out of this job or a worse position had you started something?
Context is really important. You need context about his situation before any of this can land. So I have context over the fact that he works 2 jobs, 80 hours a week. He spends time away from his fucking family. And so I need him to clearly see, had he taken action despite this fear a year ago, 2 years ago, however long it's been, would he be in a better or worse place?
Even if it's not perfect?
potentially better, for sure. Like potentially, absolutely.
Potentially better.
And so this fear of failure, right? Because that's if I can be direct, that's what's going to keep you stuck, right? So if we really look at it, like, do you fear more clocking in, continuing to show up, but knowing that you're doing everything in your power to get out of it, right? If we look forward maybe a year from now, another 2 years, or do you fear more still being in this place and looking in the mirror and knowing that you haven't done anything? Like, what do you fear more?
I just fear not executing. So I'll definitely for me it's like I think
So this is good because now he's starting to shift this perspective because he says he fears not executing. That's perfect, right? But whereas before he said he fears losing the money and things not working out. So we're making a little bit of progress here.
thinking of something that I'm passionate about that can like a topic that I feel confident in and moving forward I think would be like good. I
Mm-hmm.
think that topic is what I've been thinking about.
Yeah, and the how-tos are important, right? But this is more important because there's the business owner and then there's the business, right? So we can talk about the business and step to get in the business, but the business owner needs to be dialed in. That's the most important part. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
This is key because sometimes these people will try to shift the conversation to talk about, well, what is the thing, right? I haven't found the thing. And what they need to understand is the thing doesn't fucking matter. What matters is them being the type of person to be successful. That's what matters.
You said that you fear not executing more. Why do you fear that more?
Boom. So now we've done step 4 where we've planted the idea, right? Now I'm asking him to justify. So he tells me he fears not executing more. Okay, well, why that one?
Like I said, there's consequence. So it's just one of those things where I'm a person that, again, especially from a physical perspective, the last few years is in many ways turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, as far as the business is concerned, I want to make sure that I'm executing said idea for automation. I'm generally familiar with automation, but like I want to make sure that whatever topic I choose, variety of things that, you know what I mean? Like I'm able to continue to develop content, to continue to be creative, like that. Like I know that's like the business side, but just that's my mindset. Like continue to be creative, continue to be in that mindset to develop different things,
Right.
to engage people.
Right.
So
That's the thing
like,
I'm trying to drive home here, right? Is like, do you think that it is riskier in your situation right now to continue being in this place where the fear of failure is keeping you stuck from doing anything, and we continue analyzing and researching and nothing changes because you don't take action? Or do you fear more? It doesn't even have to be here with us, but
That's important to throw in there. It doesn't even have to be here with us, right? Because then his mind is going to jump into it. Oh, he's just saying this to sell me the program. Fuck the program. Fuck us. I'm talking about your belief system that's not serving the outcomes that you want.
taking a step, putting a little bit of money forward, putting some time forward, and knowing that you're doing everything in your power to get a better outcome? Or do you fear looking up and nothing has changed because you haven't done what's necessary to change? Like, what do you fear more out of those two?
well, I fear nothing changing.
Why that one?
Right? I had to loop that motherfucker around, right? Because he started going off into the rails when, remember, the step that we're at right here is asking them to justify why do you fear that more, right? He started talking about, well, I want to like find ideas and stick to the ideas. It's not what I fucking asked you. Why do you fear that more? So we looped it around and now we're right back. And guys, this is so important because this is why you need to understand what you're doing and what you're getting out of this, not just a bunch of tactics, not just a bunch of word tracks. Because what happens when a gentleman like this is clinging so hard to this belief or not answering your question and then you move on, right? If you know what you're looking to get out of it, that won't well, it will happen, but you're not going to move on, right? You're going to ask it in different ways until you get it, exactly as I did here.
I don't want to waste time as far as
Right,
like if there's opportunity.
right, right. And this is coming from a good place, man. But is it fair to say that for the last year of knowing that you need to do something, you haven't because we've kind of been controlled by this fear and this what if?
I mean, I don't think I've been controlled by the fear of the what if. I think you just have to assess things and do a pro con benefit of it.
So this is nuance right here because I asked him to justify why not that one, right? And now the place that I'm trying to get to is to ask him what it's costed him, but we're moving backwards a little bit because he isn't accepting that he's been controlled by fear. And so if he's not accepting that, then at the end of the call, when the fear takes over and he doesn't move forward, he still sees it as a rational way of making decisions. He still doesn't see that this way of making decisions is what's keeping him stuck. So I'm glad I asked this question because that brought this out, which is going to lead to the next part of the conversation we're about to have.
I mean, I don't think I've been controlled by the fear of the what if. I think you have to assess things and do a pro con benefit of it.
He's reasonable. He's cautious. He has to assess things. He has to do a pro con benefit for over a year.
For me, like I said, I've made strides, which is good, and I think
Right.
leaving no stone unturned as far as time and so on and so forth is continued to be good. Like it's like,
Yeah. Can I say something direct here without offending you?
This is where we need to be a little more aggressive because he's veering off into the wrong path a little too far.
That is going to be pretty abrasive. Is that okay?
sure.
Yeah. So you said that the reason you haven't done anything is because you've been overthinking the room to fill. That's what you said, right?
Right.
Listening in context is key.
And so if we look at this past year, and again, this is coming from a good place, so don't take it the wrong way, but the fact you haven't started anything because of overthinking the room to fail, is it fair to say that this fear of failure or this what if it doesn't work mindset has controlled the decision making, ultimately leading to you not doing anything?
I mean, for me, I would say I would disagree, but
Sure,
I mean,
disagree.
obviously, as far as you bringing the point, for sure. Like, I understand the way you're, juxtaposing those.
Well, what do you disagree with? Let's unpack it.
We don't want him to just agree to agree. So I'm glad he's telling me that he disagrees. But this identity, when the way he sees himself, is fighting really hard to stay. And so we gotta stay in that ring. Usually this takes like 5 to 7 minutes. This took almost 14 to 15 minutes, right? But there was no objections at the end of the call because of this 14 to 15 minutes.
What do you disagree with? Because if we don't unpack this, then you never get out of this loop, and you always work 90 hours. So let's talk about it. What do you disagree with?
I mean, I would disagree that the decision is just made out of fear. I think
The lack of the indecision is what we're talking about.
Okay.
The indecision has been from a place of fear, at least from the words you're using, unless I'm misunderstanding. Because when you say you haven't done anything because you've been overthinking the room to fail, and you've been assessing and analyzing, and you don't want to put time, money, and effort for it, and then it not working out, and then I ask if it's fair to say that we've been in this place of inaction because of the fear of it not working, then you don't agree, then I want to understand what part you don't agree with that and like how you see it.
Sure. I guess you could say, yeah, you could say the indecision is from that piece.
Okay.
And we're not just saying this to mind fuck him, right? It's because this is the way of thinking that is in the driver's seat that's keeping him stuck. So I don't want him to just agree to agree.
Okay. Okay. And we're on the same team here, man?
That's called a help frame, right? When you say things like we're on the same team, like, it's not me versus you. This is to put their guard down if they're starting to get defensive, to support this identity that they so wholeheartedly believe in. Let's keep going.
What makes you agree? Just to make sure that we're on the same page. What makes you agree at that point?
So yeah, what makes me agree is like you so eloquently put, overthinking has led to inaction. Something like that.
Right. And so maybe a better
Now he's owning it. This is good.
question from the heart here. Like, how much longer do we want this overthinking? Do we want this over-assessing and this fear?
So I think I missed the part of what it's costed him, but we're jumping to number 7 of how much longer do you want this to continue happening?
Your failure to continue holding you back from acting and ultimately having you missing out time with your family. How much longer do we want that way of thinking to go on?
Not long. That's why we're on the call.
Yeah. And being on, and I don't challenge you here, it's in your best interest, I promise. Being on the call is a good first step, right? Like, let's look at an overweight person, or just anyone, right? Just a person. You go to the fridge, let's say you're hungry, and you open up the fridge doors, you look at it.
I fucked up my analogies because this has nothing to do with overweight people, but that's why I corrected myself. That's why I'm here. That means that he thinks that being here on this call in and of itself is action. He thinks that that is enough. And so that's another belief that we need to reframe. Because if being on this call is enough, well, why would he move forward at the end? Right?
Everything that's in the fridge, you're looking at information. This call is you looking at information. But unless you execute, nothing changes, right? So for you, when we look at this fear of failure, like, do you feel like that's worth holding on to, or should we maybe start to let go of that? That's what's going to keep you stuck, not a business model.
Right? Are you ready to overcome it, right? Is it worth holding on to, or should we start to let go of that? Remember what I've said a million fucking times. We're detaching him from the belief, the identity that's not serving him, into one that is.
Go look at that and see if we can debunk that for sure.
Right? Because what has that costed you so far, if you really, really look at it?
Okay, see, I didn't skip it. I didn't skip number 6 about what it's costed him. I just did it in a different order, right? You got to be able to fucking move with the punches. You got to roll with the punches in this motherfucker.
And so again, like, do you think it's really serving you the best? And I'm not.
What it's cost me, I'll say time.
Right. And so again, like, do you think it's really serving you the best? And I'm not saying it's gonna happen tomorrow or the next day, but do you think it's serving you the best, or should we start to like let go of that, as uncomfortable as it may be?
We should definitely find ways to cope with it for sure, to navigate away from it.
Right. And when it comes to navigating away
So boom, right? We need to let go of it. We need to overcome it. And so now, why now? Why now to let go of that shit?
from it, when it comes to executing and not overthinking, why now to let go of that? What's different now after all these years?
What's different now? I mean, because I've been doing things differently as far as from a physical perspective, and been executing in many arenas. So it's one of those things where things have progressed in a lot of ways. Things have gotten better. It's just that with this piece, again, I've done well on these things now. This piece, as far as time, is the main kind of target. So how do we, again, kind of roll back in a sense?
This is kind of a bullshitty answer, and the reason I accept it is because I'm like, okay, I have enough of him separating himself from this identity and this way of thinking that if it were to show up, we'll be able to work with it. We'll be able to move, right? And so now the final part is permission to objection handle.
Brains are funny because part of you knows it's observing him and knows that it's obviously held him back and he's losing time with his family, but there's also the side of you that's comfortable researching and thinking without executing, right? That's comfortable prolonging. So I guess my question for you is, if that way of thinking were to show itself, the overthinking or the fear, would we as your coaches have your permission to keep you accountable and empowering you to overcome that if that way of thinking were to show itself?
Me and him versus the way of thinking he's looking to get away from. It's not me versus him. So if that way of thinking were to show itself, do I have your permission to keeping you accountable and empowering you to overcome that?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm not always this nice. Are you sure?
I'm not always this nice. I'm not always this nice. I fucking love saying that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're having a conversation. Yeah. Start the process, and yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of it, to try to, again, navigate, create this new medium as far as the channel is concerned, and that's the whole point of it for sure.
Right, because unfortunately, man, we'll fight, kick, and scream to stay comfortable, even if it's not serving us. And I would hate to see that follow you. So as long as the fighting, kicking, and screaming, as long as that happens, we can keep you accountable. That's what's going to get you out of this. So we have your permission there.
Yeah.
Good. And
boom. Now, what have we done? We've identified the belief that's not serving him. He's fucking fought me on it, but we've identified it. We've detached him from it. We've asked him if he's ready to overcome it. He said yes. Why now? He told us. And then he's given us permission to objection handle. So if the objection were to come up at the end, it's not a dogfight, right? We're not battling anymore. This is that way of thinking showing itself. So this is your chance to be able to act despite of it. Remember what I said earlier. We don't need to eliminate the fear. We just need to empower them to be able to act despite the fear.
So now you know what are the beliefs that form procrastination, how it sounds early in your calls, and the exact steps to take to be able to re-loop that along with the live call. If you want to skip the headache of trying to Frankenstein your process by yourself, just hit the link below, see if you qualify, only hit the link and book on my calendar if you are a closer and you are actively on a roll. That sounds like you, apply. I only take on 5 additional new clients. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.